Hey, what's up? This is Sports Truth, and I'm your host, Jordan Harris. So, you'll notice that I have my autographed Ed Reed helmet sitting here, and we'll talk about why it's sitting here later on in the video. I usually go over like a quick recap over the football game. So, the Miami Hurricanes lost to Louisville. We dropped to 6-5 on the year. That's pretty much the only stats that I want to go over today. I don't want to do a recap of all the stats, going over the quarterback numbers and all that. I just want to jump into the rest of all the other topics that I have to talk about today. The first thing I want to talk about is the main topic that we've talked about basically all year, which is our quarterback, Tyler Van Dyke. So, as you all know by now, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you know if you watch today's game, um, we started Emory Williams last week. He got hurt. So now we have Tyler Van Dyke starting this game, which I was hoping they would start Brown. But anyway, started Tyler Van Dyke. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know that I'm a big proponent of having Tyler Van Dyke sit the rest of the year and just help him find a good spot to transfer to next year. That's what I really want. He's too high. He's too high. He has too many high highs and too many low lows. His consistency is all over the place. He seems to always have some type of injury that's preventing him from performing. I'm kind of tired of that. I want to get off of that roller coaster, so I think it's best if we just sit him for the rest of the year, find out what we have and the other quarterbacks that's on the roster, and let's just see what happens there. And then look in the transfer portal and bring in somebody who hopefully is consistent and has some experience at the D1 level. But Tyler Van Dyke played in this Louisville game, and he actually played really well. If you've never heard the word enigma, that is exactly what Tyler Van Dyke is. He is somebody or something that we just cannot figure out. We don't know what he's going to do from play to play. We definitely don't know what he's going to do from game to game. So, what I was really concerned about today was what if Tyler Van Dyke actually plays well? What's going to happen? So, some of you might know that I am a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I have 5 businesses, I think it is 5, and I've got about 120 employees that work in those businesses. What I've learned over my time running businesses is that the toughest part about business is when you have to fire somebody. When you have to replace somebody, it is extremely tough, extremely difficult. And you almost want to talk yourself out of firing people because it's such a difficult thing to do. Oftentimes, I will spend about 2 weeks or so making a final decision on if I want to fire somebody. And then after I figure I've made that final decision, that employee will do something that week that will make me say, well, maybe I should keep that person. It'll start making me second guess the fact that I need to get rid of this person. So I'll say, yeah, I'm going to fire him. And then that week, they'll do 2 or 3 things that make me go, maybe they just need a little bit more training. Maybe I can pull a lot of that good stuff out of him and turn him around, and then he can be like this superstar for us. I feared that if Tyler Van Dyke came out and played well today, our coaching staff would go back to that mentality with Tyler Van Dyke, and I'm afraid that they probably are going to do that. So when they started Williams last week against Florida State, I was pretty sure that they were like, yeah, we're done with Van Dyke. We're going to go ahead and move on from him. We'll get him. We'll transfer him on out and just have him do what he's going to do. But now that he showed that maybe he can go back to this really good Tyler Van Dyke that we've seen in the past, to me it feels like they're going to be like, yeah, let's just ride it out with him. Maybe we can get him to come back next year and be our starting quarterback. I pray that's not the case, but I'm kind of thinking that's probably what's going to end up happening. But anyway, so let's talk about the Louisville game a little bit more. We'll talk about why I feel like there were so many frustrating things about this game and also so many encouraging things about the game. And the thing that's super weird about this one is that it feels like everything that was really positive could also be extremely negative at the exact same time, which is weird, but stick with me on that, okay? So let's talk about the encouraging stuff first. I typically like to end on a good note, but this time I'm just going to start with the encouraging stuff, and then we'll go to discouraging, and then we'll end the video from there. But encouraging. So we've lost to 2 top 10 teams now. by 7 points each, one score. That's encouraging. And in both of those games, we actually should have or could have won both of them. Like we actually had really, we actually had leads either at halftime or later in the game in both of those games. It's not like we just scored first and then got pummeled after. Like we actually looked like we were the better team in certain points of each of those games. I actually felt like we were going to win both of those games at halftime. So it's crazy. But the encouraging thing is that we played top 10 teams, one of them that's top 4 right now in the playoff picture, and we played them and gave them all they wanted. So when it comes to both of those games, the Florida State game, played them with a freshman quarterback. And you have to think, if we had Tyler Van Dyke, the good version of Tyler Van Dyke that started that Florida State game, we probably would have won. Louisville, for whatever reason, the defense just did not show up today. Did not show up. And like I said, for whatever reason, I don't know what it was, but they just didn't have it today. If the defense would have played like they've played in the previous games this year, we would have probably beat Louisville by 2 scores. So that was really frustrating. So those are the 2 games in which we played top 10 teams. We lost by 1 score. One game, we had a freshman quarterback start, and the other game, the defense just didn't show up and let Louisville score 38 points. Crazy. I really feel like if the offense would have played like they did today, we would have beat Florida State. If the defense played today like they did against Florida State, we would have won today against Louisville. It's weird. Crazy stuff. I know everybody's going to say, if, but that's just how I feel about it. Another encouraging thing is that the play calling was creative in the first half, for the majority of the first half. But again, the positive things in this game also were negative, because it's like, how could you have been creative in the first half like you were, but then do what you did in the second half? Like, where I felt like they were just, I don't know what was going on in the second half. It seemed like the play calling just went from like super aggressive to conservative like crazy. I don't know what happened, but I think the play calling changed on our last real possession of the first half. I feel like that was the game-changing moment of the entire game. We were up 7 points with the ball. I think there were like almost about 2 minutes left, and we had an opportunity to get a first down and basically possess the ball for the rest of the half. But we got super conservative, called some conservative plays, didn't get the first down, punted the ball away, and then they scored a touchdown right before halftime. I feel like if we would have gone into that half with, with a 7-point lead and then potentially a 10-point lead, I think the momentum would have really changed, and we potentially could have rode that momentum to a W. But not being aggressive towards the end of the first half, I think that killed us. That was a game-changing moment to me. And I've watched a lot of reactions from different people around the internet, on YouTube or whatever, and I hadn't seen one person talk about how the end of that first half like changed the game. It really did. So if you just want to do a quick rewatch of that game, I think that's what really did it. Another thing that's encouraging is that, and this, a lot of y'all probably gonna roll your eyes at this, but we finally took a snap under the center, especially in these short yardage situations, these 3rd and shorts, 4th and shorts. Like, we finally got a 4th and short today, which I couldn't believe. But we finally are starting to do like handoffs under the center. Like, why does everything have to be shotgun? I don't understand that. But we finally took some snaps under the center. So that's telling me that the coaches are willing to make some type of adjustment. That was nice to see. So let's go into the discouraging stuff now. One of the most discouraging things that I was like screaming at my TV about today was missed tackles. It was driving me crazy. And a lot of the time, typically when you consider something a missed tackle, it's when the player actually gets a hand on the ball carrier and just misses them. But today what I saw was a bunch of players who were just like selling out, like running full speed, selling out, running towards the quarterback, and the quarterback would just sidestep them, and then the Hurricanes player would just run right past them. I'm like, golly, like, break down. Like, that was crazy to me. So they kept selling out and running like straight past people. It was driving me crazy. So missed tackles in the run game. They couldn't get home on the quarterback to bring him down. That was driving me crazy. So missed tackles, that was the most discouraging thing. The second discouraging thing is the fact that we keep losing close games. And like we can look at it, I like to look at things like and say, we're losing close games, especially to these really good teams, these highly ranked teams. We're losing them close now instead of getting blown out by 28 points. Now we're actually competing against those teams. That's a positive, right? But at the same time, you look at it and you go, like, winning these close games, that comes down to coaching a lot of the times. And I am a big fan of the coaches that we have on this staff. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that I'm not really down on them at all. This game is the first game that made me go like, man, what are these coaches doing? It's the first time I've ever thought that. Because you look at the Louisville coach, this is his first year at Louisville, and somehow he's in the ACC championship. And I'm willing to, like, I haven't looked at the talent that Louisville has on their team, but I'm guessing he has players who are not. I mean, hell, I watched the game today. He's got players that are not as fast, not as gifted. They're just not at the talent level that Miami's at, and somehow they came into Miami and beat them. So that is really frustrating. The reason why I have this helmet here, this is my Ed Reed autographed helmet. One of my prized possessions. Ed Reed is my favorite player, not my favorite Miami player, right? A lot of people say, oh, this is my favorite college player. No, he's my favorite Miami player and my favorite football player of all time. So I don't think my wife got this for me, or maybe my brother. Somebody got it for me. But the reason why I have this here is because I watched this game today against Louisville, and it reminded me of, like, when Ed Reed was playing for the Hurricanes. Those teams won football games. And what I mean by that is, like, winners win, right? And you've seen teams, like, I'm a huge basketball fan too. So you've seen teams like when Kobe was playing for the Lakers. I was a big Denver Nuggets fan because I'm a huge Carmelo fan. So I'd be watching Melo play against the Lakers, and it looks like the Nuggets would have the game in control the entire game. And then, like, in the last 5 minutes, Kobe and the Lakers would just snatch the game from the Nuggets. And I'd be like, how the hell do they do that? It's because winners find out how to win games. Teams that don't consistently win, teams that have players that don't know how to win at a certain level yet, they tend to find ways to lose. And right now it feels like this team that we have, they are finding ways to lose rather than finding ways to win. The Ed Reed team that won the whole thing, like, even when they had that crazy sloppy game against Boston College, Ed Reed and those Hurricanes figured out a way to win because they were winners at that level. So that's something that's really discouraging and concerning to me, is that the players on this team, or let's just talk about the team in general, they seem like they are not winners yet. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way where I'm calling them personally losers. I'm not meaning like that. What I'm saying is the team is not a winning team just yet. They're not Kobe and the Lakers where they can just come and snatch the game from you right there at the end and make you go, how the heck they do that to us? They're not the 2001 Hurricanes that make you go, we were up 10-3 in the fourth quarter. How'd they end up winning the game 17-10? How did that happen? Because this team seems like they just don't have that winner's mentality just yet. So that is discouraging. But the thing that I'm hoping for is that, like, this next year, that winning mentality will develop is what I'm hoping for. Hell, maybe I'm even praying for it. But like I said earlier, like, there's still progress, right? There's still progress to be shown. Our Hurricanes looked terrible last year. They got smacked all around by Florida State. This year they played them close. So I choose to be positive, have a positive outlook on that, hoping that y'all can do the same. But I will say, last year we got smacked by Florida State. Louisville would have killed us last year probably if they had this same team. This year we played both of them really close. I think we can be excited and accept the fact that that is progress, but next year we can't accept that. Like next year, these have to be wins. If you look at what we have on our team right now as far as the high level talent, a lot of those players are freshmen and sophomore. So I say go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to develop a little bit more next year and they get a little bit more tougher mentally. And these close games will start turning into W's for us. That's what I'm believing. If we are sitting at 6-5 next year around this time, like I'm not gonna be happy. Not gonna be still patting these coaches on the back like I do right now. I'm not gonna be telling y'all chill out on the coaching staff. If we 6-5 next year around this time, I'm gonna be probably just with you, like right with y'all saying, yeah, we got to do something with these coaches because it's too much talent on the field, too much talent coming in. We've got to start winning some of these games. But I'm not holding it against them just yet. Next year, I absolutely will. My thought is that next year we end up somewhere like I think we'll win 9 or 10 games next year, and then I believe the year after that is when we get into the playoffs. So that's my thoughts. I appreciate you watching the video to the end. We are looking to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of December, so we're going to close out the year with at least 1,000 subscribers. But we're needing you all to help us reach that goal. So please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. Please tell your friends. We're going to continue putting videos out on all the Miami Hurricanes. I also talk about basketball and football. I'm a big pro football fan, pro basketball fan. So we don't just cover Miami Hurricanes, but the Hurricanes are my favorite team. So I'll do a little bit more in-depth work on them. Okay, so please do leave any comments that you have in the comment section. I'm super involved in that. If you've been involved in any of my other videos, you'll see that I do respond to every single comment. So looking forward to your comments. Sometimes those comments do turn into videos that I want to make just because I like to respond to some of them. Instead of just typing a response, I like to actually make a video like this and talk to you verbally. So thank you for watching the video. I appreciate your time. God bless. Take care. Peace.